Well, ar an gédal sias fir cyn fólse rovillia gan mahan hain is the thorma van céile sailín dá saram fólse céile gara rovillia agus tásúlam go bhfuil se bhíh buint teanna fós an trónóna agus nílan trónóna ach beognam bhuiile an tór fós. May I just say that what a great pleasure it is from my own behalf and on Sabina's behalf to welcome you all here, and I hope that you're enjoying the afternoon, and there's such a great deal more to come. I think that has been one of the consequences that we had of COVID was that for the last 2 years we had to suspend the garden parties, and the garden parties are an important part of the life we have at Áras and Uachtaráin, because it is an opportunity of recognising and saying thank you to different sections of our citizenship, particularly those who have been working for the benefit of others. And we've been doing this every year, but as I said, for the last 2 years we've had to suspend, and our relationship with the public had been electronic in so many occasions. But the garden parties at Áras and Uachtaráin are an opportunity for all of you to come, and particularly we organise them on different themes, but particularly for everybody who does come, whatever theme it is to see Áras and Uachtaráin, which has been the home of Irish presidents since 1938. I'm the 9th president, and an opportunity also of the gardens, and also very particularly of the additions we have made to the gardens, both be it in terms of the tribute to Sean Casey in the Citizen Army, the Starry Plough, the Acorn, which is a commissioned piece to celebrate 1916, and the planting of the silver birches, which is really putting into practice something that was decided near towards the end of the day in the first meeting of the 1919 of the first stall. The suggestion was made particularly by the Barton family that trees are very important as sources of memory and healing and continuity, and we were advised on that by a wonderful historian from Glenstone, who has died recently, so we were very grateful to him. So I hope you take the opportunity of looking at all of the gardens. I think as well there is something else about it. As I looked at the list of people who are with us today, many of you will have travelled very long distances. Mila Buicas Fuishen is the Sulam Gamunif Chanavos. If you have travelled those long distances, I'm just all the more delighted that you are able to be with us here. I've said that each garden party has different themes. Today we're delighted to be celebrating the theme of family. And thus, family, as it has changed and evolved, as we become more diverse in Ireland, and also in relation to the different circumstances in which people find themselves, all of which are valuable. Because as well as that, there are organisations represented here who are of assistance to families in different ways. So you are all most welcome as well. However you assist within a family or for families, I'm very grateful as President of Ireland for that. I think as well we can never predict the weather, but that's why we have events organised both inside and outside this marquee. I hope you enjoy it, and that for particularly, I should say how welcome all the children are. That's na post the Ford Mila Buicas, the Fod Special, Adam Roifsha, Mar, the Sulan Gamunishif, Gora, sport, Asan Tranona. As I've said, the Irish family is now has many different shapes and sizes in a diverse island. Comes in many forms, but all of it has important is that it is, in whatever shape or manifestation it is, a loving and supportive unit. And I think that in Ireland today, the challenge of us all is to try and develop. I think we have actually encountered during the challenge that was the most recent one in relation to responding to the conditions of COVID and the circumstances it imposed upon us. I kept emphasising in the different speeches I gave in that period the importance of care and compassion and kindness. And I do think we have been doing that. I have to say as well, I can't give any speech these days without calling to mind all those families around the world, families who are from displaced, who as a result of conflict or climate change or other reasons are fleeing from what was for them the security of their homes. As well as this, as well, I actually sometimes think people mention that the number of years I have been around in public life, but I just think of a dear friend of mine, very often said, Neil Sanchez, because it is exactly 30 years since we were in Somalia during the famine, and meeting my President Robinson before her visit to Mandera refugee camp and her visit to the United Nations, at which she made a speech in which the response was, "We must never see famine again." That was in November 1992. We had a famine in Somalia in 2011, and we now have in 2022 181 million people who are in danger of crisis of hunger as a result again in the Horn of Africa. So we must always remember, I think all of us who have had the opportunity of meeting families in our part of the world, that we're part of a global family, and that we must, where we have been failing before, particularly in relation to world hunger and food security, and now in response in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals and climate change, how we must never forget it. So this doesn't take for a single second from the enjoyment you're having this afternoon, but it is important, I think, to always see our connection with the world, and with also, I think, with the people who are past. I often think on the day that I have a garden party devoted to the concept of family, to all the families who had to leave Ireland in the past, and those also who had to leave as single people too, because they found the country they were living in one in which they couldn't make a living, or in which they could express the fullness of their life, be it in terms of any aspect of their life, those people perhaps left due to intolerance or whatever. So it's a day in which we acknowledge all families, those who have the joy and pleasure of being with us, those gone before us, those who have gone abroad, and all those who are in different parts of the world experiencing both the sustenance and the loss of family life. I do think as well that as we reopen after COVID, there will be families who haven't had the opportunity of expressing grief to loved ones whom they lost, and there will be others who, since the abatement even of COVID, who will be experiencing losses. So whatever your circumstances, I do want to say, this is an afternoon when in fact we celebrate the relationship of families to each other, the importance, as I've said, of unconditional love, the importance of generosity, the importance of forgiveness, the importance of sustainability and solidarity. And I do think in many, many ways, so from wherever you have come, be it near or be it far, Virkin Fórcha Rovilligus Tom Sulaga Meshivik Winchana Asan Toronto. We're in the edge of summer. Very hard to know nowadays where summer begins and ends, but for one thing, you will be spending more time with the schools closed and whatever together. I hope that the summer will be one for you of health and happiness, and that it will create memories of which your visit to Áras and Uachtaráin will be one. I want to just say about our entertainers this evening. Our MC, Martha Rocha, is Jirin Garahe. Now, Jirin will be introducing our entertainers here. She herself brings a considerable experience and professionalism to her role. But you will be hearing, I think, John Spillane, Tepe Rex and Pearly Whites, August Stephen Wisna Grounds, the cooks, but we're chefs. And then you have already been listening to the Cork City Samba Band, Colm Harrigan's traditional musicians, and very much up near where I have been describing in the sculpture garden, the wonderful piper Jane Walls. And in the drawing room, as you've been hearing, as well as in here, we've had David O'Connor. I'm very much looking forward to resuming listening to them all. But I should say thank you as well to those who make days like today possible. For example, the staff then here, whose generous and supportive attitude towards all of this is so positive. Our staff of the catering, the staff of the OPW here in Áras and Uachtaráin, to whom we are externally grateful. Tashi the Shas and Atevina. So give them a special round of applause, because you will have been already enjoying their culinary skills, which will continue. The staff of the Secretariat are the people who put it all together, and the planning, the sound and technical competencies in the hands of Philip Sweeney and Arcana. Then there are different people who have helped in different ways. Civil Defence, John O'God's, the Defence Forces, an Garda Shakona Haushashka. Is Kuma Queen Queen Orato Caro Lin, Mila Buika. So in whatever way you have been of assistance to us, may I express my deepest gratitude. In fact, to all those who have worked so hard to make today an occasion of friendship and joy, Mila Buikas. And as I have said, I wish you not only for this afternoon and for the summer, but for all of the days and the years to come, an experience of good health and fulfillment with your families. And may it be a time of fun and togetherness for you this afternoon, the continued creation of happy memories, and may this visit to Uachtaráin be one of those happy memories. Arish Buinchana of Hosantronona, may all enjoy. Winigis Saltas, may you enjoy every single piece of your experience this afternoon in Áras and Uachtaráin, the home of the President of Ireland. Berbanat, take care.